What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Espresso, and welcome back to another Call of Duty 2016 video here today on the channel. Today, we're going to be doing a little bit of a discussion and rather just theorizing about the third game mode here within Call of Duty 2016. Now, my first and major thought here is dealing with Extinction. That's something that was the third game mode in Call of Duty Ghosts. Kind of like a little bit of a secretive one. We didn't hear about it up until right before the actual release of Call of Duty Ghosts. And honestly, if I'm speaking from personal preference, that's probably the only part of the game that I actually thoroughly enjoyed. But that's neither here nor there. What is the deal with Extinction here? Because, well, it was actually very well received within Call of Duty Ghosts. Once again, the major majority of Call of Duty Ghosts was not the greatest received in terms of community outreach, as well as even just critical acclaim in the critics' standpoint as well. It didn't do too hot in any of those, but Extinction was a brand new feature here, a brand new face to this saga that was something that a lot of people actually got behind and enjoyed. Now, the thing that I'm not necessarily too big a fan of compared to Zombies is it doesn't have as much of a replayability factor because it's simply a linear thing. If you go and play it, you can actually finish the level. Zombies, you go on for as long as you can go, or if you die or do the Easter egg, and then you can just play afterwards still. But Extinction, each level was a level. You actually could complete it and then have to wait until the next DLC. But regardless, it was a very solid game mode. Don't get me wrong here with this. It was a lot of fun, and honestly, it had a pretty decent backstory here with this. A lot of the things that tried to build up stories, like Advanced Warfare's Exo Zombies, it was decent, but it didn't quite fit the need that everybody had for the thirst that they had of a story. But Extinction's story was actually pretty good, pretty solid here. I think so, at least. You guys may have a different opinion, and that's perfectly fine, but regardless, that is something that we're gonna now tie into the era here. Basically, what I'm talking about is, what is Call of Duty's next game mode here? A lot of people say they want to see zombies again. That's something that Infinity Ward has not dabbled in yet. They want to see something brand new. They want to see Spec Ops. But personally, I don't think Spec Ops is coming back. I think that's used up all its time here. Maybe we'll see something like a spin-off in some way, shape, or form, but I really think that Spec Ops as a whole is not going to return. Zombies is something, once again, that is not Infinity Ward's domain, so I don't think they'll necessarily touch it. And let's not forget that Extinction, once again, was actually pretty well received. So in my mind, I think it's only logical not only to implement into the game Extinction for that reason, but also for quite another large reason as well. Now, the rumor is that Call of Duty 2016 will be heavily focused on space. That being battles in space, multiplayer in space, campaign in space, all that kind of stuff. Maybe not completely all of it, but it's gonna be a very heavily sci-fi themed one here, where space is a major key component of the game. So, how does this now tie in with Extinction? Well, if you guys do remember the very last DLC, Exodus, the epilogue, or rather the very ending cutscene of this here, this level was basically the final stand for humanity against the cryptids and what the outbreak was coming to here with this. If you guys do remember the little bit of the story within Extinction is that there were a bunch of little different colonies underneath the Earth in the Earth's core, and then they were awoken, and the cryptids and air quote aliens broke out here, started to take over the world, and basically overran all of humanity. So the very last bits and pieces here of this story was in Exodus, the final DLC map, in which we had to basically eradicate all of this by setting off a nuke, but also our main characters in the storyline were sent up into space away from all of this radioactive damage that did happen. Now, notice that one part that I mentioned there, space. I was just going through and checking out a bunch of old trailers because sometimes I get nostalgic and I want to look at some of the old things that Call of Duty had that I absolutely loved. And I was watching some of this stuff and I watched the Exodus cutscene here, and that to me caught me by surprise. I was watching it and I was like, wait a second, this seems very familiar and very reminiscent of something that we see nowadays. That entire cutscene and very ending to that final DLC here within Call of Duty Ghosts leaves off with Dr. Samantha Cross as well as Godfather and the few others that were on that shuttle. It leaves off with them in a space station now orbiting what is an apocalyptic Earth here. You can see in the image that it actually is, everything's torn to shreds, everything's on fire, blown up. the world is basically done for. And it leaves off saying that one species falls for another to rise, and that the others believe Samantha Cross's powers could save them from extinction, and it cuts right there. So it's a massive cliffhanger. We don't know at the very moment the exact final ending, because I personally don't believe that that is the very end. It's way too abrupt and has way too many unanswered questions as to what happens next for it to be the final ending of Extinction. So for that reason, it matches up with space, it matches up with sales, it matches up with the critical acclaim, and I think that we're gonna be seeing Extinction coming back here within Call of Duty 2016. Might seem like a logical no-brainer, but it also seems like it can fit in perfectly with not only what is the third game mode to be expected, but also the storyline here as we set off into space. So that's gonna wrap this video up here today, ladies and gentlemen. I would love to hear your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Do you guys think this matches up quite well? A space setting for campaign and multiplayer, and a space setting for Extinction. That's something that I think could work out, but I'd love to hear your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did like this video, please leave a like rating down below. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We're on that road to 30,000 subscribers, so every little bit does help, and is, as always, greatly appreciated. But, my name is MrFijiWiji. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.